Hey guys, welcome to DevOpsSchool. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about Maven. Maven is a build automation tool. It simplifies and standardizes the project build process. It handles compilation, distribution, documentation, team collaboration, and other tasks seamlessly. Maven increases reusability and take care of most of the build-related tasks. After going through this session, I promise you that the concept and understanding of the Maven will be absolutely clear to you. But before we begin, let me inform you few things about us. DevOpsSchool is one of the leading platforms which offers DevOps, cloud and containers technology training and certification programs for freshers and established professionals who wish to update and consolidate their skills in the dynamic IT scenario. We ensure that the training solutions are delivered by highly experienced domain experts with practical working experience in various verticals. You can join our all training programs globally through online platforms, and if you're looking for classroom workshop, then we have regular batches available in Hyderabad and Bangalore. Check out the dates and enroll with us for our upcoming batches. For more info, link and contact details are mentioned in the description below.
Okay, so let us talk about Maven. Okay. So Maven is basically a build automation tool. Okay, so what is build automation? So build automation is something, it's an example. You are having your code and that code is to be compiled. That code is to be compiled. So this compiled code is called the build code. For example, when there is a developer who is writing the code, he's writing the code on his machine, which is the development machine. Okay. And when he's done with his testing, now let us talk about testing first. There are two types of testing. One is unit testing and other is integration testing. Okay. So there are two types of testing, unit testing and integration testing. Unit testing is the testing when you are when the developer is writing the code and testing it. Okay, developer is writing the code and side by side he is testing. So developer is doing the testing. So that is called unit testing. And integration testing, when developer is not doing the testing, developer has compiled the code and given for the testing team and they are testing it. So sometimes what happens that your code is, means you are developing the code, but that code is not only the code for entire application. There are other developers who are also writing the code. And most of the time it happens. We need to integrate that code. Integrate that code means we need to combine all the code and test it. So this is called integration testing. Okay. So for Java, if we do some testing, which is unit testing, that is through a framework which is called JUnit. And for .NET, it is NUnit. And so on. Means every language has its own test server. Now let us talk about two things. One is software development kit and one is runtime, which we call SDK and runtime. So you may heard about that AWS SDK or any language SDK. SDK is software development kit. So what is the meaning of software development kit? If developer wants to write a program into that particular language, any language, whether it's a Java, .NET, PHP, right? So he has to install the software development kit for that. For example, if you want to develop the code in Java, you need to download JDK. Without JDK, you cannot write the code. So you need a development kit. But when you are, one thing is that you are writing the code. Second thing is that you need to run the code. Okay, you need to execute the code. To execute the code, you need a runtime. It is for the execution. Okay, it is for the execution of the application. Now, for development, you definitely need the execution, right? Without execution, you cannot execute the code. So because when you are executing it, you need the runtime. So if an application or a language always comes with its development kit plus runtime. Okay, and when developer is writing the code, he should have that SDK as well as the runtime. But if we talk about production or if we talk about testing, at that time developer is not giving the code to them. So there is no particular code we are giving it to the tester by saying that okay, go and execute this code. So they are getting our compiled code. Okay, so the software developer has one more facility. They can build the code. Okay, they can build the code, and building the code is again it is a part of your your SDK. So you have some option that how to build the code. So you can build the code, and this build of the code means, say an example, if you are writing a code for Windows applications, say an example, then you need to create one .exe. Okay, you need to create an exe. So exe is your build code. Now this exe you will give it to the tester, not the code. So you have written the code, and with that code you build the code by creating one exe. And this exe is basically ultimately going to be tested. So you are not giving the code, you are giving the exe for the testing. And if it is successful, same exe you will give it for the production. So for testing and production environment, I don't need the software development kit, but I need the runtime. Okay. So if, say an example, if I talk about Java, Java has a software development kit called JDK. You may have heard about that because most of the time we use JDK 8, JDK 11. So there are different versions of Java is available. And runtime. So runtime is basically JRE, Java Runtime Engine. So here what you can do, you can means once your code is built, that is to be executed. So JRE you can use for the runtime, Java runtime environment. So if I ask you that, okay, I need to execute my jar file. So in the build, basically in Java, we create jar file or var file. Okay, so jar file or var files, Java is jar file is for the console application, and var file is for the var file is basically for the web applications. Okay, whenever you are developing a code in Java, and if it is built, then either you create the jar file or var file. So it depends upon what type of application you are creating. So now in between this software development kit means whenever developer is writing the code and whenever the developer is uh, you know uh, the code which is developed by Java or the developer, it is to be executed. So in between there is a layer which is a build layer. So this build layer is basically your build so build is basically your where you are creating the jar file, var file, and this I need to make it automate. And for that, you use some DevOps tools. One of them is Maven and MS Build. So there are a couple of tools. MS Build for Microsoft application. Before Maven, we were using Ant, but now it is very less. We use it. And on top of that, on top of all the build softwares, it is Maven. Okay. So again, Maven is a build automation tool. So when we are talking about the build automation tool, like Git and GitHub, it is more specific to developer. Similar way, Maven is more specific to the developer because developer has to write the code and build the code. But as a DevOps engineer, we should have a knowledge of that because whenever we are creating a CI/CD pipeline with the help of Jenkins, then definitely we can use the Maven for the build automation. So it will be the part. So if we know how to build the application, and it is not necessary. See, in DevOps world, it is not necessary that if you know the if you means this Maven is DevOps. It's not like that. It's a tool. It can be any tool, right? It can be your MS Build or Ant we are using. So we can use if you are using Maven, then Maven you can put it into the CI/CD pipeline because developer is pushing the code. So how the CI/CD pipeline runs? So here is the developer. Developer is putting the code into the GitHub, and as soon as this code is pushed into the GitHub, it is to be built. Okay, and once it is built, it is to be tested. And after testing, the notification goes back to the developer. This is called the feedback mechanism. Okay, so here you can see last time we have discussed about GitHub. Now we are talking about build automation. So here Maven plays a important role because without building, you cannot test it. You can test it, but you need to install all the things which a developer has, and it's not a right way because in the in the if you are using the developer's code, then it will be not testing is not as we are testing in the production. Okay, so anyone has any doubt, any question, what we are going to discuss today and what is Maven for? All right. So now, what is Maven? Why Maven? What is the importance of Maven? These things now we will discuss. Maven, build automation tool, first of all. Second, it is developed in Java. So, but it does not mean that you can only build the Java code. You can use the Python. I think Python code also we can build it, but I use it for the Java. But you can do the C# code. You can build the JavaScript code as well. So there are some couple of languages it supports, and it is very useful because it is open source. It is freeware. Okay, and the code which the code which we are putting it into the GitHub. So we basically create a Jenkins job, which is for my building the application, and it builds the application and give it to the testing environment, and it is basically beneficial for our continuous integration life cycle. Okay, so now let me just go to my notes.
Raman, quick question, sir. So if you have a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
So have you heard of the Salesforce demandware any chance?
Sorry, say again.
Have you heard of the Salesforce demandware?
Salesforce, yes.
Yeah. So my ask is like, if we are building a code in JavaScript, can we convert them into a like a war or jar files, and we can
No,
deploy them?
I don't think that JavaScript code can be converted into jar or war file.
Okay.
So, so JavaScript is a client-side scripting, which
Uh,
is which is basically integrated with either your HTML pages, or it can be integrated with some language like your Salesforce. I think Salesforce is a program where you write the .NET kind of programming, right?
yeah, but it's more like when it comes to coding part, it's more like a .js file, CSS, HTML, ISML. Those are the
Okay.
files. So
So
those
so in
can.
that case,
Uh-huh.
it means that files. See, when we are talking about HTML, CSS, these are not a programming languages. So uh, so these are basically your language like HTML we call markup languages. So markup languages never get compiled. Okay,
Okay.
so markup languages, if you see any page, right, which is in HTML page, that page is as it is, we deploy it. We don't compile it. So
Yeah.
compilation is if you are using JavaScript, then uh, for JavaScript is basically inside your HTML, which is serving as a client-side programming. But JavaScript application also we don't compile, right? So we basically put it as a JS file along with
Mhm.
our HTML, right? But these days there are a lot of frameworks like jQuery, Angular that you can use. So so ultimately, but these are getting integrated or embedded inside the HTML page, and HTML page we don't compile. So
Okay.
for that build part is skipped. So it is
Okay.
directly goes into the testing because there is no build phase. So
Yeah.
these are
Yeah. Right
so
now, whenever
yeah,
we make some changes to any HTML or CS or JS files, so the commit itself getting merged to develop environment. People will be testing that, and we are merging develop to staging environment. Once it is good in staging, we are replicating that into production. There's no way of deploying, only replicating code and replicating data.
yeah, same as your HTML code or JS code as it is, right?
Yeah, sounds like. But
Yeah,
my concern was like, if there is a possibility, I can convert each commit as an artifact and store it in an access or somewhere, so that if we have to revert, or if we have to go with a different version, every time we don't have to merge development to staging. So that's what I want to take that approach. Before that, I want to check with you, like, is that really it's going to really work or not?
yes, yes. So
So yeah,
actually,
you said like, as you said, we can convert the like all these like JavaScript files to as a var or jar or ER files, right?
right, we can't.
Which means
Yes, we can't.
which means the whatever the possibility I'm thinking, that's not gonna work, right?
Yes. See, whenever you are trying to whenever you are trying to create an uh, you want to try to create a build phase, first of all, that application or that language should support that. If it does not support, then we cannot do anything. So say an example, if you are talking about jar and var file, but when we talk about the .NET application, there we create the exe, not jar or var.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So yes, then we can take our C# kind of application. Okay, and that I can do because it has a facility for building the application. So I just need to pick up the point how it get built. whether it is possible with the Maven or not, that we need to see, and then we can build it.
Okay.
Okay, but in the case of JavaScript or HTML, there is no build phase at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now let me go to my notes. One second. So here on my notes, you can see here Mammon PDF. Okay, so this is how Maven we write it. It's a Apache Maven. So it is under Apache license. And this is the logo you can see. Okay. Now, why the automated builds are required? So automated builds are best practice because we need to have the CI/CD pipeline, right? That is the main purpose of DevOps. Everything should be automated. So if developer is writing the code, it should be automatically built. So that is the best practice. Manual procedures can mistake prone. So if you, first of all, whenever we are thinking about DevOps, we should always think about if there is how can we automate a particular thing. But before going into the automation, we should know how manually it works. So say an example, if we talk about the build, so first we need to know that particular language, how the build is manually happens, means without automation, how it works. So say an example, if you are using C sharp, then you need to know how to create the exe, whether exe can be created manually, what are the steps. Same way, whenever you are creating the jar or war file, what will be the steps for that? Okay, and as a DevOps engineer, you should know what is the build extension of that particular application. Because developer is writing the code and if he gets some problem, if he gets some problem to build the application, then you are the one who is going to help him. Okay, and it is not always necessary that you know all the languages how to build the things, because you need, before performing the build action, you need to first check on that system build is working or not. Okay, so automated builds are self-documentary. So whenever you are creating some uh, automation in the build, so because it is automated, so it gives you the self documentation. When say an example, there are a couple of things. When you are creating a project manually, then you have to give your uh, information related to that project. But whenever you are using the automated builds, then most of the things are automatically added into your running build or running project. Automated builds can be triggered by tools like Jenkins cron jobs. Now you have created executable, your runtime, jar or war file. Now you want to run that job on certain frequency, or you want to set up in the CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins. All the things you can do with the automated builds. Code build or integration. Code build is process by which source code is converted into stand-alone form and that can be run on a particular type of platform. So when we talk about a code, and once it is built, then it is to be tested. So as a DevOps engineer, you should know what type of the code it will build and what type of build file it will create and on which operating system it can run. Okay, so all these things you should know. And one of the most important step towards the software build is the compilation process, where source code files are converted into the executable files. Okay, so executable files, jar and var are the executable files. Okay, the process of building software is usually managed by build tool. Okay, so all the things which we are talking about, it is built by the building software. Build has been created when a certain point of development has been reached, or the code deemed deemed ready for the implementation, either testing or for the release. So basically what happens when this build phase basically arrives. Now this developer, in the last lecture we have discussed about the Git. Right? Through Git, he is pushing the code to GitHub, and there is a build phase. So say an example, you are developing a website, and in that website you are saying, I want to create a sign-in page. I want to create a login page. I want to create some other pages. But when you are saying once my sign-in page is done, I want to test it. So you will push it into the GitHub, build it, test it, and if everything is fine, then your one build is done. Excuse me. So whenever I'm using the build, so when I use a build, it is not necessarily that I'm giving it to the testing team for testing it. You can do it for your unit testing as well. So say an example, you are developing a page sign-in page you have developed. Now on your machine, so you think that you are done with that. Before moving to GitHub, you want to build it. So build can be the part of SDK. So you build it and you are running on your local machine. And you are seeing that sign-in page is coming correctly. You are able to enter the values. When you submit, it is getting saved into some database. So you these things you can test it on your local environment. When you think that everything is working on your local system, then you put it into the GitHub, let it to be tested, build, and then it is to be tested. Okay, so once a particular stage comes when you think sign in page, I'm done with that, or you want sign in and login page both, first is it is to be developed and tested by the developer, then you want to give it to the tester, that is also fine. Okay, so for that we use the build. Now these days build is what the build is doing, compiling the code, right? But now these days build are doing some more jobs also, like dependencies. So what is the meaning of dependencies? Say an example, you are developing a code for which is for your web application, For this web application, you need some dependencies. An example for web application, or I can take the test application. For test application, you have some dependency. You need a Selenium framework is to be installed. Okay, so let me just show you how we do it. So for that, first of all, I will show you the example by taking programming language Java. For that, first you need to go to your Google. So my Google is already opened, and here you need to download the Java. So I'm showing you on my I'm showing it on my Windows operating system, but similar way you can do it for Mac and Linux. I will show you means after this examples. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say download Java or download JDK, Java Development Kit 8 for Windows. Okay, so there is a Java Standard Edition Development Kit. Okay, and here you can see down here, this is the Linux versions, and here are the Windows 64-bit, which is 210 MB, and you can download JDK 64-bit. I think I have already downloaded, but you can download it. Okay, so once this download is done, I have already done it. Actually, you need to have a username because now Java is a Oracle product. It is still open source, but it is a Oracle product. So you need to create an account before downloading it. Okay, so it is taking time, but ultimately it is to be okay. Please try to continue to get the error. What happened? Oh, accessed could be my what is the username? I don't remember my username and password. So I have already downloaded. Once it is downloaded, you just need to use a wizard. Okay, to okay, now what I want to do, once it is downloaded, then you need to install it. And once it is installed, you can go to your command prompt and say Java C. Java C is Java compiler. And if or not this the right way. And if I say Java hyphen version, I believe. Yeah. So here you can see I have downloaded 11.06. Okay. So 11.06 version is already installed on my machine. So once you run that setup, that version will get installed on your machine as well. Okay. So Java is to be installed. And there is a Java compiler, which is for compilation of the Java, and Java for the interpretations, right? So first you need to download the Java. Then you can download Eclipse. You can download any integrated development environment. So I would prefer Eclipse. Okay. So Eclipse is where you write the Java code. You can write the Java code in normal Notepad application as well, but it will be preferable to use the integrated development environment. So here you can say Eclipse download. Okay, and you can say download 64-bit, and you can download Eclipse. It's a very simple process, normal wizard. And if it asks for the installation, you can select Java uh, double E, right? Java E Enterprise version. For that, you can install the Eclipse. Okay. Once everything is done, means once you install it, before that you need to install the Java. Okay, because it when you run the application, it basically looks uh, for the Java installation. Okay, so now this is done. Now next, once it is downloaded, then you will see Eclipse on your. So this Eclipse also you can install it on Linux machine. Okay, Linux GUI version you need, or Mac operating system also you can install it, and Windows definitely, which I'm showing you here. Okay, so once you uh, install it, and if you open it, what it will do, it will just ask where I need to keep your project. So I want to keep it, the project into my some directory. So I'm selecting eJava workspace, and I will say launch. Okay, so now I'm opening it. Okay, it is taking a little bit more time. Okay, so it is open. Okay, so here what can I do? I can write a simple project. So if I open this my project, I think I have some code written here. Otherwise, I will write it. DevOpsSchool. So something is here. Demo Java. Okay, so I have created one project, not this one. DevOpsSchool. Let me open this project. Okay, even not this one. This okay. We can DevOpsSchool's one, not this one. Okay, so let us take this example. Okay, so let me just comment it out. So you need not to worry that means if I write some code and you don't understand, there is no need to worry about that, because I'm just showing you that how we write the code. Not we, basically developer is writing the code, and how they are executing it and how they are building. So similar way, you need to know how to build, but how to write the code, that is not a DevOps engineer work. DevOps engineer work is just to build the application. But for building the application, I need to write some code, right? So this is some Java code, and I'm writing simple hello world application. So if I say system dot out dot println. So I'm just printing hello world. Okay, so hello world, I'm just, so if I right click on this, and so basically what happens, okay, let me create a brand new project. That will be good. So once it is open, what you need to do, you need to go to new and Java project, and here I can create a Java project called, say, test Java. Okay, and I have Java 11, and this is the some files and directory will get created, and this you can say don't create. So now you can see test Java is getting created, and it is loading. Just wait for that. Down you can see it is doing something, so let it complete. Okay, so it is downloading something. Okay, it is downloading something, but once it is created, then under source you can just right click and new class. So then a class you need to create. I'm creating app class, right? And here I'm writing app.java. So once you say right click and run Java application. Okay, and you say okay. So you can see there is an output for the, okay, so this is the output. Now similar thing you can do it in normal notepad application. So if I create a application in notepad, same. If I say copy, and if I open it in notepad, and if I paste this code, so file name should be same as your class name. So I'm saying file, save, and let me save it under F, where it I was creating. Let me create anywhere. So F, and I will say app.java. Okay, so this file get created. Now I will go to my command prompt, F. If I say dir star.java, so you can see app.java file is there. Now if I say java c app.java, so java c basically compiles the code, and if you don't get any error, it means it is successfully compiled. Now if I say java app, so you can see there is an output. So if you're because my Java runtime is installed, that is why I am able to execute this code. Java JDK is installed. Okay, if the JDK is not installed, then I cannot run this code. So now you can see my hello world application. I can write it into the notepad, but it is preferable to use the IDE like Eclipse. Okay, so Java app, so it is giving me the output. Now what I want to do, I want to convert into a jar file. Okay, I want to convert into a jar file. So this is my code, and if you want to convert it into jar file, you need to go to file and export. I want to export it into jar file. Okay, so here you can see jar file. Next. Okay, and where you want to export it, it is your wish. So I'm creating under, so here I will call it app.jar file. Okay, E Java workspace test. Okay, and everything. Export the output, export this. Okay, and I need to select my project. So this project is DevOpsSchools. Okay, under source. Yeah, default package. Next. Now export the class compilers. Yes. Next. Here you need to give the class name. My class name is app.java. Finish. So basically what happens on E drive, Java workspace, under test, I have created app.jar file. Okay. Now I need, so this app.jar file, I will give it to the tester, or I can give it to the production whenever, if it is fully tested, everything is fine. Okay, so I keep creating this jar file. So this is basically after building, this jar file get created. But this is one way, means whenever I'm doing it testing, unit testing, at that time I'm creating this jar file. But ultimately I need to create this jar file, build. I need to build it. So now this app.jar file, I need to execute it. So to execute it, I need to check the jar command, jar file to execute. Jar file, one second, command. Okay, so what is the command jar? I think I have command, one second. This is my F books. Yeah. So this way. So the command is Java class path. So Java class path, app.jar, and my package name. So on the top, I'm not using any package. So then I need to write. Yeah. So you can run the jar file like this, Java hyphen CP. So CP is basically your class path, and app.jar means your jar file, and the class name, and class name is app. So ultimately, first what I have done, I have written some code, then I compiled the code, compiled it into jar file, and then with that jar file, I'm running that jar file so that testers or means testers or what we call production team, they can run my jar file. Anyone has any doubt, any questions so far? Okay. So now this is all the things I am doing manually. Okay, all these things I am doing manually, but I want to do it automate. But before doing automate, you need to understand how these things are happening manually, right? So now next, what I will do.
Ramanji, a question.
Yeah. Huh.
So for whatever we discussed, right? So when it comes
Yeah.
to interview part, like they will ask the similar stuff, like how it have you set it up, the Mammon and all that, or it's a different way.
Okay. So the interview part, Maven, the things which I'm showing you, these are the fundamentals, right? So how step by step I'm moving. So we will go to the Maven part. So far we have not reached to that level. So before building the application by using Maven, I want that to show you that how these things are happening manually. So Maven has its own life cycle. So
Mhm.
there are different goals related to Maven. So once we discuss it, then you know, then you can understand that these are the questions which is very much related to Maven only.
Okay.
So far I'm just making a base in such a way that these things I'm doing manually, and it is tough to do once we go into the automation or real-time projects.
Okay.
So how Maven will be helpful to resolve such kind of problems.
Sure.
Okay. So we will come to that. Don't worry about that. So Maven related stuff, I have full notes for that. Okay. So now this particular code is fine. You have written, and it now it depends upon the developer how complicated code he is writing. So he ultimately it can be, you can make it a jar file and you can execute it. Now let us consider a situation where you are going to develop an application for the tester. Okay, or you want to create an application which needs the Selenium as a dependency. Okay, so Selenium is what? Selenium is a test automation tool. With the help of that, you can run the code related to your web application. Means if you want to test your web application automatically, then you can write the code into the Selenium. But we are not going to write very tough code. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go and I'm searching for Selenium. Selenium download. Okay. Now, when you are building an application and which has a dependency of Selenium, then you need to download the Selenium for your application, and you need to add that into your code, right? That some libraries you need to add it into your code. So first you need to download it. So if you actually they have changed the setups. So so it depends which programming language you are writing the Selenium test, like Ruby, Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript. So I'm using for Java. So what you can do, you can download the uh, actually they have changed something. Let me click on this. Download change logs. Just implement minimize windows. Okay, so let me just go with download. Uh, oh, sorry, not this one. Alpha, I don't want. You need to click on download. Okay. So once you download it, okay. So only download. Okay, so once you download it, it will download a zip file. Okay, so if I go here, it is downloaded, and here you will see, there are some libraries, .jar files related to Selenium. Now copy these jar files and keep it somewhere. I have already copied and I kept it under my software Selenium. Okay, so I have already copied these files, but in your case you just need to extract your zip file and you can keep it over here. Now next is where you are going to do the testing. So say an example, you want to do a testing on Google Chrome. Okay, so then you need to go to browser where you want to do the testing. I want to do the testing on Google Chrome. Okay, and actually they have changed some interface. Okay, so here you need to go and check the downloads and current stable release. You can go over here and you want to do it for Linux, Macs or Windows. For Windows, so let me download this. Okay, so this will be an exe file. Okay, that you can keep it somewhere. Same way I have kept it under my where is I have kept it under my Selenium folder, not Selenium. Here itself under software Chrome driver.exe. Okay, so I already have these things. Now what next? I need to add these libraries. So I will go to my project. Okay, same project. Here, what you need to do in the reference libraries. So I have already added, but in your case, what you will do, you need to select your project, go to File, and import. Not import. Actually, right click on this, go to Build Path, add external archives. Jar is Java archives, right? And here Selenium, you need to add these two, and then you need to add all these jar files and say OK. Once it is added, you will find all these files are available. Okay, so those who knows Java, for them it is very easy task. But if it is totally new to you, then no need to worry because you are not going to do this work. You are just checking that what dependencies we are adding. So dependencies which we are adding is the Selenium dependency. Now here on the top, you need to add this reference library by using import command. And let me remove this hello world. Then you need to write some code which will open some web page, or this is basically tester will do that work. You need not to worry that what code it is written. Okay, so but I'm just telling you what I am doing here. I'm just opening a google.com website by using this code. But in reality, you are as a DevOps engineer, you are not going to write that code. This code will be written by the testers or the one who knows the Selenium. We don't know the Selenium. And here you just right click on it and you can run as Java application. Okay. Now you can see google.com website is getting opened and it is opened. So it means the code which I have written for the Selenium, it is executing successfully. But what are the things I have done? I went to Selenium website. From there, I downloaded the code. and then I add it into my reference. There are a lot of manual steps were required, right? If you want to perform the similar kind of activity in your other project, you need to follow the similar steps. You manually you need to add that Selenium. You need to keep this file into some folder. Then you need to add the references and so on. Now this so far whatever I have discussed with you, this all is the manual process. Now let us move to the automatic process, which is our Maven. Now what is Maven? Maven, some introduction we have seen. Maven, Apache Maven is a software project management and comprehension tool. It is a build automation tool used primarily for Java projects. So it's mainly used for the Java projects. Maven can be used to build and manage the projects written in C#, Ruby, Scala, and other languages. So you can build the projects by using Maven. Means if the project is developed in Ruby, C#, Scala, Java, right, and some other programming languages. Maven addresses two aspects of building software: how the software is built and its dependencies. Now the things which we have done manually, these things can be happen automatically. Means you need not to download the Selenium, it will be automatically downloaded, automatically referred, everything will be done automatically. So Maven is basically a repository. Okay, so if someone asks what is Maven, so you can say Maven is a repository. So if I say Maven, so there is a website maven.apache.org. So here you can say Apache Maven is a software management comprehension tool, right? That is what we have discussed. So support, documentation, license, what is Maven? Okay, so these are the things which Maven can done. Maven can make the build process easy, uniform build system. It is providing project information. It is providing the guidelines for the best practice development. It is allowing the transparent migration for the new features. What is not Maven? Maven is not a site or documentation tool. Maven cannot extend the end to let the download dependency. Maven is not a reusable end scriptlets. So Maven is not dependent upon any. And I told you, right, this is one of the build automation tool, but Maven is much more than that. Okay, and if I go to the download section, so here you can see the requirements to download the Apache Maven. So latest version of Apache Maven is 3.6.3. The current selected download of you can download it from here. What is the system requirement? You should have the Java development kit, okay, which is Java 7 or more. Memory, no minimum memory requirement. Disk, 10 MB space is required, but these days we are having much more than that. Operating system, you can download it for almost all operating system. Files, so these are the downloadable files, which if it is a Linux, there will be tar.gz files, and if it is uh, Windows, then Windows for Mac and Mac and Linux, you can download this archives. And if it is Windows, you can download either of this, right? So now, if you, because Maven is a open source, so you can download the code as well. Okay, so you can download the source code. So for Linux and for Windows, there are some. If you want to work on the previous releases, so you can go to the Maven releases history and you can download the previous versions also. So if I go for my Windows, so what you need to do, you just need to go to this zip file and download it. Okay, it is downloaded. So if I go and show in the folder, and if I extract it, okay, I believe I already have this. Okay, so this is downloaded, and if I go to my Apache Maven here, right? So this is the directory, and in this directory, let me move it somewhere into my E drive. If I paste it here, okay, and here you can see there is a bin. Under bin, you will find MVN. So MVN is basic. You need not to install it. It is a you know installed version. Means you just need to copy paste this folder and set up your environment variables. That's it. Automatically everything will be set up. So if I go here into my E directory, and if I say cd slash, and if I say here the screen cd maven, what is that maven, where I copied it, Apache Maven. Okay, and if I say dir, so these are the bin directory. If I go to bin, okay, if I say dir, so you can see there is a Maven application. So I can say mvn hyphen hyphen version. Okay, so here you can see it automatically detects that this is the version. Also, it detects that Java 11.0.6 is installed. Okay, so because for this I need Java is to be installed, and it automatically checked it that Java is installed or not. Operating system Windows 10, version is 10.0. Everything it is showing it over here. Okay, so that looks good to me. Okay, so what is this? Okay, so Maven is installed. Now you can run commands related to Maven. Okay, so it's not, there is no project, so that's why it is giving the error. So we'll see that how to create the projects. All right, so now let me go back to my notes. So here, same way you can download the version for your for your Linux operating system or Mac operating system. Same way you can download it, and you can refer the variables into your environmental variables, right? So that it can be accessible. You need not to go to that particular directory and run it. Okay, so so if you want to go with some use, so you can just check it out, take a 5-minute test, some tutorials. If you want to check, you can check it over here. Any help you needed, you can get it over here. Next is some release note. So if you want to see some release note, so these are the release notes. You can go and walk through this. What is Maven 3? What are the different like 3.0 major and minor versions has been installed. Now let us talk about Maven repository. Okay. So what is Maven repository? Maven repository is basically a collection. What is the collection? So say an example, what I'm going to do. I'm going to build the application. So there is one application which I want to build it by using Maven. Means I want to create a jar file or war file. And this application is having some dependency. Like we have taken the dependency example of Selenium. So now before building, it will check whether this application has any dependency. Yes, it has a dependency of the Selenium. So what it will do, it will download the dependency first. So how it will download the dependency? Because Selenium is a separate website. So what we'll do, we basically go to the Maven repository and download it. So there are thousands of repositories are available in Maven repository. Okay, so let us just check out what are the dependencies available. So this is the Maven repository. So you can see AWS Java SDK for Amazon SQS, AWS Java SDK for EC2 instance. So these are the dependencies. So if I click on this, you can see some versions are here, right? So this is the latest one. If it is beta, don't use beta because it is in the testing stage. So you can check the stable version. So in the stable versions, you can see this line of code. You just need this line of code and put it into your project. And once you put it into your Maven project, the dependency will be automatically downloaded. Okay. Now, same way if I search for Selenium, okay. So Selenium for Java. So that dependency I want. So here you can see alpha or beta. So you can ignore this because this is still in the testing stage. So you can check this. And this is the dependency code for the Maven. So you can copy this and put it into your application, and we will put it. Okay. So these are the things which we need to do. Okay. Here also you can set up the environmental variable for your Maven. So you can copy this. So this is my path, right? And okay, so if I go to some other directory, if I say Mvn, it will not work. So if I say mvn hyphen version, see, it is not working. So, oh, it is working. So it is already set, looks like. Let me check. So if I go to my this PC and if I go to properties, advanced, environmental variable, path. Okay, so path is already added. That is why it is working. So there are two paths. So I already copied it into somewhere, into my downloads. Okay, so this was added maybe in my previous classes somewhere. So now that is why if it is not added, you cannot run the Maven command into, you cannot run the Maven on your means anywhere from the command prompt. You need to go to a specific folder and then you can run the commands. All right. So this is done. Now, same way you can search any dependency which you think. So say an example, if you want to search for the Docker, let us see Docker dependency is there. Yes, Docker Java is there. Let us check the dependency for the Git. And Jenkins Git plugin is there. Okay, so same way now these days are, I think, more than 1,500 dependencies, even more than that. I don't know where I can find the count. Let me just check here on the Google. Total number of dependencies in Mammon Repository. So we also call it plugins. Okay, actually, there is no number, but they had given some list. Okay, so, but there are hundred thousands of libraries or dependencies available under the Maven repository. Okay, okay. So now let me go to my notes. So this we have discussed. Now let us talk about project object model. So what is project object model? This is basically a file which is the configuration file for the Maven. Here what we do, we configure our project related properties. So say an example, what are the dependencies required? What is the project name? What is the group ID, artifact ID? And that we will see. So let me just do one thing. Let me quickly create one. Now let me show you how to install it on the Linux box. So for that, I will go to my AWS account. So you can you can take any operating system like uh, your Red Hat or Ubuntu. Okay, so I'm going to take my Ubuntu operating system, but it is up to you. Okay, so my dash. No, there is no instances that is removed. Okay. Okay, so you can go with the launch instances, and here you can go with the Ubuntu server. And I'm going with the default properties. Security group, I'm just adding all traffic. Review and launch, launch. I'll call it Maven. Okay, and I will take the public IP address and I will go to my MobaXterm to connect to this server. Okay, my username is Ubuntu, and here use the private key. So I'm going to use this private key. Okay. Okay, so now what I can do, I can first connect with the root user, and then I will say apt update. So the apt repository is up to the mark. Okay, so earlier when we were using the Maven, we had to do a lot of work. Means we need to install JDK first, then we need to, means the JDK specified version also 1.8, something like that. And then we have to install the, we need to download this Apache Maven, and then we need to, we need to set up the environmental variables. So all these things we had to do earlier. But now these days, the package which comes, it is very easy. So earlier when somewhere around a year ago when I was teaching, so I need to follow all the steps related to Maven, how to install it. But now this Maven is the part of your apt or yum repository. So you need not to worry that how to install Java, how to configure the Maven related other settings. You just need to go and run a command. Here you need to go. You say apt install Maven. Okay. Yes. So it will automatically install Java, set up the Maven path, everything it will do. So it will take time because it needs to install Java also. Okay, so now it is installed. If you say here that Java version, okay, and same way if you want to create a file, so if I say vi same file app.java which I have created there, if I create that file here, it should be get executed. So let me copy paste this code. Okay, and if I say Java C app.java, okay, so Java is installed but only runtime. Actually, for Maven, runtime is required. Okay, I need not to test this because that JDK is not installed. JDK is not required for the for the Java. So if you want to install the JDK, we can install it, but it is not required because I need to run the code. I need not to develop the code here. Okay, so this is fine. Now, if I say Maven version, actually it is Maven MVN version. So you can see it is showing. One second, I'm getting one call. इवेंट कोरिलेशन के नाम से हाँ हाँ वही है हाँ 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 अभी सुबह कर लेंगे ना अभी क्या रात को आप आप चेक कर लो अगर नहीं बनती ना टिकट फिर सुबह देख लेंगे Okay, so here you can see that our Maven is installed properly. It is showing 3.6 point. This version is installed. Right now, next what I need to do, I need to generate a project in Maven. Okay, so if you want to generate a project means you want to create an application in Maven. So for that, we need to write a command, and that command is, it's in my notes. Okay, so the command is this one. Okay, so before going to this command, let me just talk about my. So there will be a project object model file, and that project object model will basically having the detail about your project which you are creating for the Maven. Okay, it will have all the settings or configuration related to project. Then once you create a directory, the directory structure will be that. I will show you that what is the directory structure, and I will explain you as well. Now there is a Maven build lifecycle. So what is Maven build lifecycle? Or let me first create it. So I will show you this structure. So what you need to do, you need to run a command, Maven archetype generate. Okay, so if I go here and if I run this command, so let me create one folder. Under that folder I will create, or here also we can create. So when you run this command, okay, so it will basically search different types of projects available in Maven. Okay, so here you can see it is saying choose a number to apply the filter. So basically what happens, Maven supports lot of project types. Means in Java also there are a lot of project type, like you are creating a console application, you want to create a Hibernate application, you want to create different types of applications. So it is saying it is case sensitive what will be your apply folder filter, and this is saying 1498. So you can see so far there are 2592 types of project is supported by the Maven, but it can increase or decrease. Most of the times chances are they will add some more you know project type. So 1498. So let us see what is that number. Okay, so it is somewhere here. So you can see 1498. It is a Maven quick start project. Okay, so it will be kind of a quick start, means it's a very simple Java project. So if you want to create such kind of quick start project, you want to use this number. If you are looking for any other data type like Kafka, Karaf, or you want to create, there are a lot of types which mostly this Java developers, they are more aware of that. Okay, so I'm saying I'm okay with by taking this normal basic quick start project. So I will select this number 1498. Now it is asking, in this project there are different versions are available. So which one you want? So alpha I don't want. So 8 number is fine. So I will select number 8. Enter. Now it is creating that project for me. Now it is asking what will be the group ID. So in Java, when you are creating this project, there is a group ID. So group ID is nothing but it is a kind of a package name. So package name is basically where your entire package gets stored. So means say an example, you are writing some code and that code you want in the code you want to put it under some namespace basically. So that is more specific to the Java application. Okay, and this code, the package name which you write, it is in the reverse way as it is mentioned in the website name. So say an example, if your website name is google.com, so package name will be com.google. or group ID will be your com.google. So I will write similar way. I will say com dot, or if you want to write org dot Raman. I'm saying artifact ID. Artifact ID is nothing but the name of your project. So you can give any project name. I'm creating my project. The version number. So it is saying if you don't give anything, I will give it as a version 1.0 snapshot. I'm saying okay. And package name, again, it is same as your group ID. So I'm giving the same name. Now it is saying, do you want to create it? I'm saying yes. So now you can see build success. So if you say see ls here, means list of files and folder. So this app.java was already created earlier. Let me remove that. So now I will go to my project. Okay. Under this project, you can see there will be one file and two folders. So which file it is? The file is pom.xml. Okay. So pom.xml uh, is a file where your configuration is exists that I just explained you, right? Okay, so you can see this is pom.xml. This is having the settings which is related to your project. So here model number, group ID, artifact ID, version. So everything is here. Here you can see this is the source compiler also. So it is using 1.7. Dependency, here you can see there is a dependency added which is for the JUnit. So JUnit is basically your unit testing tool which we use for the testing purpose, unit testing. Okay, so here in this quick start project, the unit testing, there is a unit testing dependencies added, so that will be fine, no problem. So this is basically all about. There are other things, some plugins if you want to install, you can add that plugins over here. Okay, now let me just save this. Under source folder, so if I say tree src, so tree is not installed, so let me install that tree command. Okay, so if I say tree src, so you can see there are some files and folders which is under source, and that is what I am trying to explain here. Okay, so here you can see under project home source we have main and test. So here you can see we have main folder and the test folder. Under main folder I have Java. Under Java org. So this is my project ID or group ID structure. So I have created raman.org, org.raman. So it has created the folder org, then Raman, and under Raman it has created one file app.java. So let us see what is in app.java. Okay, so if I say vi, and if I go to src, then main, then Java org. So you can see there is a simple code as I have written earlier, right? So That code is it's here, public static void main. All the code is similar to that. So this is having hello world application. So I just saved it. Okay. Same way, there is another folder which is test folder, and under this test folder we are having Java org, and there is a code. So if I say vi under src test, so you can see there is some code related to the unit testing. So I think this is fine. And if I save it and exit, so the bottom line is that I need to execute this code. So this is my directory structure. Now project home directory, where it contains Pom Dot Xml and your source directory. Under source, we have main Java, where you are writing the code related to the Java, right? And then we have the code which is Java application app.java, and we have the code which is related to our test application. So this is the group ID, artifact ID, versions. So group ID is any arbitrary project grouping identifier. Artifact ID is your uh, arbitrary name of the project, and version is the version. So that things you can see in your pom.xml, and we have seen. Now Maven build lifecycle. So what is Maven build lifecycle? So whenever we are creating the project in Maven, so it has different phases, and we need to execute our code as per the phases. So as an example, here we have the phases. First phase is prepare resources. So in prepare resources, basically what we are doing, we are the resources which is required, we can customize in that phase. It will check whether the resources are available, and if it is available, then it is get copied. Then validation. Validation means in the project, everything is correct. Information, whatever we need for the project is available or not. Then we have the compile. So here the compilation happens when the code get compiled. It does not create the jar file, but it will check the syntax and some class file which is required to create. It creates that. Then testing. So in this phase, the unit testing or other type of testing which we want to do, that we can execute it. Then we have the package. Under package, what it does, it basically creates the jar or war file. And in the install, it basically create the install the package which you can use for your releases for your artifactory. Okay, so these on your local or the remote repository. And deploy, it copies the final package to the remote repository. So these are different phases, and these phases are basically in a sequence. So in case if you want to perform an activity related to package, if you say Maven package, so what it does, it perform all the activity which is on the top, like it prepare the resources, it validate the resources, and it is compiling. So before package, whatever the things are happening, so uh, so uh, it basically package, before package test, before test compile. So you need not to write these commands. Whenever you are writing that, uh, whenever you are writing the package command, so automatically these phases will get executed. That is one of the specialty of Maven. which was not in the other build tool like end. So these kind of things was not there. Okay. Now this is the goal, which is called the lifecycle goal. For example, if you say Maven install, so what it will do, Maven install is here, so it will perform all this activity. So it generates and compile and test package integration testing install. Maven clean. So basically whenever you are doing a compilation or whatever after compilation, it will create a special folder, and that folder name is the target folder. And that target folder is basically having your this target folder is having your jar or war file. Okay, so this target folder information is if you want to delete it, you want to create a new target folder or new compilation file, then you can run the m mvn clean. So it will clean the target file, basically target folder. If you run two commands simultaneously, if you say mvn clean and compile, so first it will clean and then it compiles. If you say mvn compile and install, so it will first compile and then install. If you say test and clean, so it will first test and clean it. So these are called Maven goals. So Maven dependencies. So if you see here, so as we have seen in our pom.xml file, so if I go there and say pom.xml file, so here you can see this dependency folder, dependency tags. So under dependencies, you have group ID, artifact ID, version, scope, etc. So what basically I'm doing here I'm just adding a dependency for JUnit. We will see the Selenium because we have already seen that Selenium test case. Similar way, I would do the Selenium I will add that Selenium dependency. Okay, so dependency things will be added over here. Okay, and we will see now. Now we will see our example. So here my package. So if I see ls, so there are two files. Okay, I don't know why one is created, maybe by mistake. So if I say file, okay, so there are two files, one file pom.xml and src. Now if I say build maven and say compile, now it is compiling my project. Okay, so you can see build success. So now you can see there is a special folder get created, target. So if I say free, so you can see under target there are some classes get created. There is app.class get created, but there is no jar file. Okay, and this target folder get created whenever you are running compile or after compile any command. So if I say mvn clean, so what it will do, it will clean your target folder. Okay, so if I say ls, so you can see target folder is deleted. Now if I say mvn test, So before testing, whatever the phases are there, it execute that. First, before test, there is a compile. Okay, so you can see it is build success. If I say ls target, so you can see so far there is no, but here you can see there is a test phase run, and it is saying one run test, zero failure, zero other things. So it means this get executed successfully. And because I am running the test, so before test it is running the compilation. That's why target folder get created. Now, if I say mvn test and clean, so first it will do the testing, then it will delete the target folder. Okay, so you can see here, first the test is get executed, that phase, and then clean. So clean is basically cleaning the folder. So here you can see the target folder is deleted. Okay, now let me run a command mvn package. So it will create the jar file. Okay, so this get executed. So now if I say ls, so we have source, target, and Pom Dot Xml. So let me say tree target. So you can see there is a jar file get created. My project snapshot.jar. So if I configure this mvn package command into my Jenkins folder, then it will be very easy for me, because I'm going to uh, if it is a part of the CI or CI/CD pipeline, then with this command I can create the jar file. I need not to go to option and create the jar file. So first manual thing is you can avoid by using Maven build commands, means Maven package command. Now this is the jar file which I want to execute it. So if I want to execute it, so let us see how to execute it. So same command we need to use, java-cp. So if I say java-cp, and then we have target, and in the target the jar file name is my project.jar, and my class name was org.raman.app. Okay, so you can see the output. So it means this is a valid jar file which I can give it to the testing team and they can test it. And I was basically having the code, and from that code this jar file get created. Now if I go back to the code, if I say vi and source main and app.java, if I say instead of hello world. If I say hello India and save it, then I can run a command. If now I have made the changes in app.java file. So if I say mbn clean, first it will clean the folder and then package. Okay, and now if I run the command again, you will find the output is hello India. So it means my package which I have used, it can be, so I can use it here. Right now, what else I want to do here? If it is a var file, right? If there is a code which is related to the var file. So there is some project which is this GitHub DevOps Guru. So just let me download it. Here. So if I say GitHub Guru 99, not 99, 91, DevOps Guru, DevOps Guru 91. What is that? Mammon web app application. Okay, so this is the application. So I will clone this application. And if I go here, I think it is already installed. It automatically get installed. Yeah. So if I say cd dot dot git clone, okay, so you can see there is a Maven counter web application. So let me go to that application. And here I will say ls. So there is a source file. So if I say tree, so you can see there is a web application. So some code is written in Java. So I don't bother about what code is written. My job is to execute this with the Maven. So what I will do, so there is no target folder. Okay, I will say Maven package. So it is compiling. Okay, so build is successful. So if I say ls, so there is a target folder. So if I say ls target, so you can see there is one war file get created, and this war file I can give it to the tester or the production team. Okay, so this way basically we are creating the jar and war file using Maven. Now the question which you were asking, what will be the question related to Maven? So these will be the question. What are the different phases? What are the different life cycle phases? Each phase you should know how to create jar files, right? How to create war files. So all these things should be in the Maven related things. So Maven is not a big topic and not a complex topic as well. Okay. Now what I want to do, I want to do the similar kind of activity in my Eclipse project. So for that, you need to go to your Eclipse, and we are already having that. Okay, and I don't know what is happening here today. Okay, so here, if you want to create a Maven project, you need to go to File, New, and Project. And here you can search for the Maven project. Once you create a Maven project, it will ask about few things that create a simple projects. So this you can skip. I will take a simple project. And here, yeah, here we need to search for, this is the artifact IDs. Quick start project, I will select quick start. A lot of quick start. Actually, here we don't have number. So just let me check there. What was the number? One 498. Okay, it is Maven arch type. Quick start. So if I remove this, okay, and there are two, I think org dot. So, so I'm taking this project type. What will be the group ID? I will say org dot. You can give any name. Maven. Artifact ID is your project name. You can give my whatever the project's Maven project, MVN project. I will say. Okay, and you can say click on finish. So now what it will do? It will create a project. So MVN project is which one I have created? This. Which one I have created? This one or This is the old one, right? I believe. So here now you can see my source under source main app.java file get created. And this file is normal hello world file, which we have seen. And same way for the test, it has created the unit world JUnit file. Okay, so everything is fine. Here you can see the JUnit dependencies, and here you can see the Pom Dot Xml file also. Okay, so this is the Pom Dot Xml file. Okay, and here you can see the dependency. Now I want to perform the same activity which I have done for the Selenium, right? So for that, if you remember, I downloaded the code, and after code get downloaded, I used it. I add the reference libraries, then chrome.exe, then some code I have written, right? So now I will go to Mammon Repository, which I was searching earlier. And if I say Mammon Repository for Selenium. And here you can see this option I'm selecting. And this is the dependency thing. So I will copy this. And one thing I want to show you here first, in the Maven dependency, we have only JUnit, not the dependency related to Selenium. Now I'm going to add this code. Okay, so I'm adding this code. Okay, so it is basically adding the dependency related to my Selenium. Now let me just save it. Once I save it, you can see here all the dependency get added. And once it is added, then I can write the Selenium related code. So how to write the Selenium related code? You can go to your app.java. And here you can write the code which we have written earlier here. So we code something like this. I want to open a yahoo.com file, that website. So I'm going to add that code. Okay. And now you can see on the top automatically that Selenium import statement has been added. So why it is added? Because my dependencies are automatically get added into my reference library or Maven dependency. Now if I run this, let me just double check whether it is able to run or not. So you will see that yahoo.com website will get open. Okay, so here is my code is executed successfully. So it means instead of instead of you know doing the thing manually, if you compare it with the previous case which I have used to 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 use the uh, Selenium. So there are a lot of steps I have used. I went to website, I download the package, I unzip that external files, then I add those files into my code, and then I after that I wrote the code. But here now everything is simple. You just need to add the dependency, everything will be added. So how it is added? Because it goes to that repository, right? Mammon repository, and from Mammon repository, it downloaded the code. Anyone has any question, any doubt? Okay, 1 second. I see some questions. So Prashant, is Prashant there in this call? Yeah. Okay. So Prashant is asking, is Maven code can be done for matlib.python building as well? I'm not sure about that. That you can Google it. So there are a lot of applications, even supported by Maven, but not sure about MATLAB. Where is the link between GitHub developer code and build version? So that you need to basically when you are using the Jenkins, at that time GitHub and Maven work together. So developer will push the code into the GitHub, and that code will be picked up and built by using Maven Maven build process. Yes, so the automatic part that you can see means when we are going to discuss about the Jenkins. So in Jenkins, I will add this. So this command, Maven command. So these commands I will add it into the Jenkins job. For Docker as well as Maven. Yes. So everything which you want to automate, we will do it we will basically configure it into the Jenkins. Okay. Okay. So anyone else has any question? Okay. So I think we are done with this. Okay. So that's it basically let me just check anything is left. So these are some, you know, GitHub repository, which you can use for your practice purpose. And these notes are available on my GitHub repository. Okay. So in that case, that's it for this lecture. If you don't have any question, then yeah, I can share that link. Okay, so this is the link. You can fork it. On the top right corner, you can find one option which is fork, and you can fork it. It will be automatically added to your repository, to your GitHub account. So yeah, here you will find all the links like Ansible, Chef, DevOps interview questions, Docker. Okay, so okay, then that's it from this lecture, and we will meet in the next lecture.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Want to study further? Subscribe to our paid membership to get a deep dive into each and every topic. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to our DevOps School channel and hit the bell icon to learn more. Keep learning.